The mind is the most powerful force that exists within every human being. It is invisible, yet it shapes every visible part of life. Every achievement, every failure, every dream, and every action begins first as a thought inside the mind, long before a person builds a house, creates a business, writes a book, or becomes successful. The idea of that achievement is born quietly inside the mind. The truth that has guided great thinkers, leaders, and philosophers across centuries is simple yet powerful. The mind is everything what you think you become. Every person enters the world with a mind full of potential. It is like a fertile field waiting for seeds. The seeds that are planted are thoughts. When the seeds of courage, hope, belief, and determination are planted, the field produces success, happiness, and growth. But when the seeds of fear, doubt, jealousy, and negativity are planted, the same field produces struggle, disappointment, and limitation. The field does not judge the seed, it simply grows. Whatever is planted inside it, many people live their lives without realizing the true power of their thoughts. They believe that their circumstances control their destiny. They blame the environment, the economy, luck, or other people for the direction their lives take. Yet history shows countless examples of individuals who changed their entire destiny simply by changing the way they thought. A person who was once poor becomes wealthy because they began to believe in opportunity. A person who once feared failure becomes a leader because they began to believe in courage. A person who once felt lost discovers purpose because they began to believe in their own inner strength. Mind works quietly, yet its influence is enormous. Every thought you think creates a small shift inside your emotions, your decisions, and your behavior. Over time, these small shifts become habits, and those habits shape the direction of your life. Just as a river slowly carves its path through rock, repeated thoughts slowly shape the character of a person. If a person constantly thinks about growth, they naturally begin to take actions that lead to growth. If a person constantly thinks about limitations, they begin to act in ways that reinforce those limitations throughout history. Many wise teachers have emphasized the power of the mind. Philosophers, leaders, scientists, and spiritual guides have all observed the same principle, that human beings become what they consistently think about. When a person fills the mind with visions of possibility, their energy, actions, and persistence begin to move in the direction of those visions. When a person fills the mind with doubt, fear, and negativity, their actions begin to move in the direction of failure. Consider the story of a young boy who grows up in a small village with very few resources. His surroundings are simple, and his opportunities appear limited. Yet inside his mind, he holds a strong belief that he will one day become successful. Every day he imagines learning, growing, and achieving something meaningful. Because of that belief, he studies harder than others. He learns from every mistake, and he refuses to give up even when challenges appear. Years later, that same boy becomes a successful leader, not because of luck, but because his thoughts shaped his actions, and his actions shaped his destiny. Same principle applies to every individual regardless of background, education, or circumstances. A person who believes that improvement is possible begins to search for ways to improve. A person who believes that success is possible begins to recognize opportunities that others ignore. The difference between two people facing the same situation is often not their resources, but their mindset. One person sees obstacles while another sees lessons. One person focuses on problems while another focuses on solutions. Mind is not only a source of thought, it is also a creator of emotion. Thoughts influence how people feel, and emotions influence how people act. When the mind is filled with positive expectation, the body feels energized, motivated, and confident. When the mind is filled with fear or negativity, the body feels tired, discouraged, and hesitant. In this way, thoughts become the invisible force guiding behavior every single day. Understanding the power of the mind is the first step toward personal transformation. When people realize that their thoughts influence their habits influence their actions, and their actions influence their results, they begin to take responsibility for what they allow into their minds. They become more aware of the inner conversations that shape their attitudes toward life. This awareness does not mean that challenges will disappear. Every person faces moments of difficulty, uncertainty, and failure. However, the difference lies in how the mind interprets those moments. A person with a strong positive mindset sees failure as a temporary lesson rather than a permanent defeat. See obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more determined. With this mindset, even the toughest experiences become stepping stones toward success. Throughout this book, the idea that the mind is everything will be explored through stories, reflections, and real-life examples. Each chapter will reveal how thoughts influence belief. Belief influences action, and action ultimately shapes the life a person lives. The goal is not only to inspire motivation, but also to help readers understand the practical power of their own thinking. When a person begins to guide their thoughts with intention, they begin to guide their future as well. The moment someone chooses to believe in growth, possibility, and resilience, they open the door to transformation. Just as a small spark can ignite a powerful flame, a single positive thought can begin a chain reaction that leads to extraordinary change. Every great achievement in history began as a thought inside the mind of someone who dared to believe it was possible. The same power exists inside every individual. The mind is not limited by circumstances unless the person believes it is limited. When thoughts change direction, life often follows. The message of this book is simple, yet profound. The mind is everything what you think you become. When you learn to guide your thoughts with purpose, courage, and belief, you begin to shape a life filled with meaning, progress, and possibility. The journey toward transformation always begins within the mind, and once that journey begins, the path toward becoming your best self unfolds step by step through the power of thought and belief. Chapter 1. The power of thought. The journey of every human life begins inside the mind before it appears in the outside world. Every action, every decision, and every achievement begins first as a simple thought. The mind works quietly, yet it holds a power greater than any physical force. A single thought can inspire courage, create fear, ignite hope, or bring despair. The direction of a life is often determined by the thoughts that dominate the mind. Each day, many people believe that success or failure is controlled mainly by external circumstances. They think that luck, opportunity, or background determines what they will become. However, when we look deeper into the lives of successful individuals, we discover a common truth. Their achievements began with a belief in their own thoughts. Before the world recognized their abilities, they first recognized the power within their minds. The mind can be compared to a fertile field waiting for seeds. Thoughts are the seeds that enter this field. Some seeds produce strong trees of confidence, determination, and creativity. Other seeds produce weeds of fear, doubt, and negativity. The field does not question the seed. It simply grows whatever is planted in it. If a person constantly plants seeds of hope and belief, the field grows a life of progress and possibility. If a person plants seeds of worry and self-doubt, the field slowly fills with limitation and struggle. Consider the story of a young man named Amir who grew up in a small town where very few people believed in big dreams. Most people around him accepted simple routines and never imagined achieving something greater. Every day, Amir heard voices telling him that success belonged only to those who were lucky or wealthy. At first, those voices filled his mind with doubt. Yet one day, he read a story about people who changed their lives through determination. That story planted a new thought inside his mind. The thought was simple but powerful. The thought was that his future could be different if he believed in it. From that day forward, Amir began to guard his thoughts carefully. When negative ideas appeared, he replaced them with thoughts of growth and possibility. He imagined himself learning new skills, meeting new people, and creating a better future for himself. This change did not transform his life overnight, but slowly it began to influence his actions. He studied with more focus, he worked with more dedication, and he searched for opportunities to improve his knowledge. Over time, his thoughts shaped his habits, and his habits shaped his results. Years later, Amir became a successful entrepreneur, and when people asked about the secret of his journey, he often said that everything began with a change in his thoughts. Story of Amir shows an important truth. Thoughts are not passive. Actions and actions shape destiny. When a person repeatedly thinks about improvement, they naturally begin to look for ways to improve. When a person repeatedly thinks about failure, they begin to avoid risks and opportunities. The mind acts like a compass directing the path of behavior. Another example can be seen in the life of a student named Sarah. During her early years in school, she struggled with mathematics. Many of her classmates believed she was not talented in that subject. Eventually, Sarah began to accept that belief as truth. Every time she opened a book, her mind repeated the same thought that she could never understand the material. Because of this belief, she avoided practice and her performance remained poor. One day, a teacher noticed that Sarah had potential and encouraged her to change the way she spoke to herself. Instead of thinking that she could never learn the subject, she began repeating a new thought that she was capable of improvement. At first, this felt strange because her mind was used to negativity, yet she continued practicing the new belief day after day. She studied with patience, and slowly her understanding grew. After months of effort, she passed an important exam and realized that her previous failure was not caused by a lack of intelligence, but by the negative thoughts she carried in her mind. The transformation of Sarah reveals another important principle. Thoughts influence confidence. Confidence influences effort. Effort influences results. When a person believes they can succeed, they invest more energy into their actions. When they believe they will fail, they withdraw. Their effort before success even has a chance to appear. The power of thought can also be seen in the way people face challenges. Two individuals may encounter the same obstacle, yet respond in completely different ways. One person may see the difficulty as proof that the goal is impossible. Another person may see the same difficulty as a lesson that helps them grow stronger. The difference between these responses is not the challenge itself, but the mindset of the person facing it. Imagine two friends named Daniel and Kareem who both lose their jobs on the same day. Daniel allows negative thoughts to dominate his mind. He believes that the loss means his future is uncertain and hopeless. As a result, he becomes discouraged and avoids searching for new opportunities. Kareem experiences the same disappointment, yet he chooses to think differently. He believes that the situation may lead him towards something better. Because of this belief, he begins learning new skills and applying for different positions. Within months, Kareem finds a better job, while Daniel remains stuck in frustration. This example shows that thoughts create emotional energy. Positive thoughts generate motivation and determination, while negative thoughts produce fear and hesitation. Over time, this emotional energy shapes the direction of a life. The mind also influences how people perceive the world around them. A person who focuses on problems will notice difficulties everywhere. A person who focuses on opportunities will notice possibilities even in difficult situations. The environment may be the same, yet the interpretation of that environment depends on the thoughts inside the mind. For centuries, philosophers and teachers have emphasized that the quality of life is closely connected to the quality of thoughts. Ancient wisdom traditions often describe the mind as the master of the body and the guide of human destiny. When thoughts are disciplined and positive, they create harmony, strength, and clarity. When thoughts are chaotic and negative, they create confusion and struggle. Training the mind to think constructively requires awareness and practice. It begins with observing the thoughts that appear throughout the day. Many people are surprised to discover how often their minds repeat negative messages without their conscious choice. These messages may come from past experiences, social influences, or personal fears. Once a person becomes aware of these patterns, they gain the ability to change them. Replacing negative thoughts with positive ones is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing a perspective that encourages growth. Instead of thinking that a challenge is impossible, a person can think about what lesson the challenge might offer. Instead of focusing on fear, a person can focus on preparation and effort. Over time, this practice strengthens mental resilience. Just as physical exercise strengthens the body, repeated positive thinking strengthens the mind. Each encouraging thought becomes a step toward greater confidence and self-belief. The mind gradually becomes a source of support rather than a source of doubt. The power of thought also influences creativity. Many great inventions and works of art were born from individuals who dared to imagine something that did not yet exist. Before an architect designs a building, the structure first appears. In the architect mind, before a writer creates a story, the narrative begins as a collection of thoughts. Before an inventor builds a machine, the concept is formed through imagination. These examples demonstrate that thought is the starting point of creation. When people understand the power of their thoughts, they begin to treat their minds with greater care. They become more selective about the ideas they accept and the influences they allow into their lives. They surround themselves with inspiration, knowledge, and encouragement because these elements nourish positive thinking. A powerful mind does not mean a mind without challenges. Even the most successful individuals experience moments of doubt or uncertainty. The difference lies in how they respond to those moments. Instead of allowing negativity to take control, they redirect their focus towards solutions, learning, and perseverance. This discipline transforms temporary obstacles into valuable experiences that contribute to growth. The first step in mastering the power of thought is believing that change is possible. Every person has the ability to reshape their mindset, regardless of past experiences. The mind is flexible and capable of learning new patterns. When a person commits to cultivating positive thoughts, they begin a journey of personal transformation. As this journey continues, the connection between thought and reality becomes increasingly clear. Small changes in thinking lead to small changes in behavior. Those small changes gradually produce larger changes in results. Eventually, the entire direction of a life can shift simply because the individual decided to think differently. The message of this chapter is simple yet powerful. Thoughts are not small or insignificant. They are the starting point of every action and every outcome. When a person chooses thoughts that encourage growth, courage, and determination, they unlock the potential to shape their own destiny. The mind is the place where every great journey begins, and the thoughts that live within it determine where that journey will lead. Chapter 2. Belief shapes reality. Belief is one of the strongest forces within the human mind. It acts like an invisible guide that directs thoughts, decisions, and actions. Every person carries beliefs about themselves, about others, and about the world around them. These beliefs quietly influence how people respond to opportunities, challenges, and relationships. When a belief becomes strong enough, it begins to shape the reality a person experiences. The connection between belief and reality may not always be visible at first, but over time, its influence becomes clear. A person who believes they are capable of success approaches life with confidence, curiosity, and determination. That belief encourages them to take risks, learn new skills, and persist through difficulty. In contrast, a person who believes they are not capable of success often hesitates, avoids challenges, and withdraws from opportunities. Their belief limits their actions, and their limited actions reinforce the belief. Imagine a young boy named Ravi, who grows up in a community where many people believe that success belongs only to the fortunate or wealthy. From a young age, Ravi hears these ideas repeated again and again. At first, he accepts them as truth and begins to think that his future will always be small and limited. Yet one day, Ravi meets a teacher who encourages him to question those beliefs. The teacher explains that belief is not a fixed rule, but a choice that can be changed. This idea awakens a new possibility inside Ravi's mind. He begins to believe that his future can expand beyond the limits he once accepted. That belief motivates him to study with greater focus and to explore new interests. Instead of avoiding challenges, he begins to welcome them as opportunities to grow. Over the years, his belief becomes stronger with every small achievement. Eventually, Ravi earns a scholarship to a university and builds a career that once seemed impossible. The transformation of Ravi's life demonstrates an important truth. Belief creates direction. When the mind believes in growth, the person naturally moves toward growth. When the mind believes in limitation, the person unconsciously moves toward limitation. Another example can be seen in the life of a woman named Elena who dreams of starting her own business. For many years, Elena works at a small office job and quietly imagines running a company that provides creative services to clients. However, a voice inside her mind repeatedly tells her that she lacks the experience and resources needed to succeed. Because of this belief, she delays her dream year after year. One day, Elena attends a workshop where successful entrepreneurs share their journeys. She notices that many of them started with limited resources, yet they believe strongly in their ideas. This realization inspires her to reconsider her own beliefs. Instead of thinking that she is unprepared, she begins to think that she can learn the skills necessary to succeed. This new belief changes her actions. She begins studying marketing, communication, and leadership. She spends evenings developing ideas for her business and gradually builds confidence through practice. Eventually, she launches her company and slowly attracts clients who appreciate her work. When people ask Elena how she overcame the obstacles, she explains that the most important change happened inside her mind before it appeared in the outside. World belief not only influences personal goals, but also shapes the way people interact with others. A person who believes that people are generally kind and supportive approaches relationships with openness and trust. This attitude often encourages positive interactions and meaningful connections. On the other hand, a person who believes that others cannot be trusted may approach relationships with suspicion and distance, which often creates misunderstandings and isolation. The power of belief can also be observed in education. Consider two students sitting in the same classroom learning the same subject. One student believes that intelligence can grow with effort, while the other believes that intelligence is fixed. The student who believes in growth studies with patience and curiosity. When difficulties appear, this student searches for new methods to understand the material. Student who believes intelligence is fixed may become discouraged quickly and assume that failure means they are not capable. Over time, the difference in belief produces a difference in results. The first student develops stronger skills and confidence, while the second student may remain trapped by self-doubt. The lesson here is not about intelligence, but about the belief that guides effort. History offers many examples of individuals who achieved remarkable success because of powerful beliefs. Inventors, explorers, artists, and leaders often faced skepticism and rejection from others, yet they continued pursuing their ideas because they believed deeply in their vision. Their belief acted as a source of strength during moments of uncertainty and challenge. Belief also influences emotional resilience. When people believe that difficulties are temporary, they find the courage to continue moving forward. They see obstacles as lessons rather than permanent barriers. This mindset allows them to adapt, learn, and grow, even during difficult times. In contrast, when people believe that problems are permanent, they may lose motivation and feel overwhelmed. By challenges, changing beliefs requires awareness, patience, and persistence. Many beliefs are formed during childhood through experiences and messages from family, teachers, and society. These early influences can shape the way people see themselves and their potential. However, beliefs are not permanent structures. They can evolve as new experiences and perspectives enter the mind. One effective way to transform limiting beliefs is through repeated positive affirmation. When a person consistently reminds themselves of their strengths and possibilities, the mind gradually begins to accept those ideas as truth. Another powerful method is through action. When individuals take small steps toward their goals, they collect evidence that contradicts their previous doubts. Each success reinforces the new belief that progress is possible. For example, a young athlete named Malik once believed he could never compete at a high level because he lacked confidence. During practice, he often hesitated and worried about making mistakes. One day, his coach encouraged him to focus not on fear, but on improvement. Malik began repeating a simple belief that effort would make him stronger. Each day he practiced with dedication, and gradually his performance improved. As his skills developed, his belief in himself also grew. Eventually, he became one of the strongest players on his team. Malik's journey reveals an important principle: belief grows stronger when it is supported by consistent action. When the mind and behavior work together, the results become powerful and lasting. The environment also plays a role in shaping belief. People who surround themselves with encouragement, knowledge, and positive influence are more likely to develop empowering beliefs. Supportive communities inspire individuals to explore their potential and pursue their dreams. In contrast, environments filled with negativity, criticism, and doubt can weaken belief and discourage ambition. For this reason, many successful individuals choose their surroundings carefully. They read books that inspire growth, they learn from mentors who encourage possibility, and they spend time with people who share a positive outlook. These influences strengthen belief and help maintain motivation during challenging moments. Belief is not simply a passive thought. It is an active force that directs attention, energy, and effort. When the mind believes something strongly, it begins to notice information that supports that belief. Opportunities become more visible, solutions become easier to find, and persistence becomes more natural. People begin to understand this connection. They realize that shaping their beliefs is one of the most powerful steps they can take toward personal transformation. By choosing beliefs that support growth, courage, and possibility, they create a mental environment where success can flourish. The central message of this chapter is clear. Belief shapes reality. The ideas you accept about yourself and your potential quietly guide your actions, and your actions determine the direction of your life. When belief is rooted in confidence, determination, and hope, the path ahead becomes filled with opportunity and progress. In the chapters that follow, the exploration of the mind will continue, revealing how thoughts, beliefs, habits, and actions work together to shape the life each person experiences. When these elements align with purpose and positivity, the mind becomes a powerful ally in the journey toward success and fulfillment. Chapter 3. The Mind and Habits. Human mind does not shape life only through thoughts and beliefs. It also shapes life through habits. Habits are the repeated actions that slowly build the structure of a person's life. Every day, people perform hundreds of small actions, often without thinking about them. These actions appear simple, yet when they are repeated again and again, they become powerful patterns that influence success, health, happiness, and character. The connection between the mind and habits begins with thought. A thought appears in the mind, and if it is repeated often enough, it becomes a belief. When that belief influences behavior repeatedly, it becomes a habit. In this way, habits are the visible expression of the invisible thoughts inside the mind. Many people wish to change their lives, but they focus only on big goals. They imagine dramatic success or sudden transformation. Yet true change rarely happens in a single moment. It grows gradually through the formation of new habits. Just as a river slowly shapes the land through constant movement, habits slowly shape the direction of life through daily repetition. Consider the story of a young man named Armin who dreamed of becoming a writer from childhood. He loved stories and imagination, Yet he never believed he had the discipline required to write a book. Every evening he told himself that he would begin writing the next day, but the next day always passed without action. His mind was filled with creative ideas, yet the habit of postponing work prevented him from turning those ideas into reality. One day Armin decided to change his approach. Instead of thinking about writing an entire book, he focused on a small daily habit. He promised himself that he would write for a short period every morning before beginning other tasks. At first, the habit felt unfamiliar and sometimes difficult. His mind tried to convince him to skip the routine. Yet he continued repeating the action day after day after. Several weeks writing became a natural part of his morning routine. The habit strengthened his creativity and confidence. Each day produced a few new pages, and gradually those pages grew into chapters. After many months, Armin completed the manuscript of his first book. When people admired his achievement, they often imagined that he possessed extraordinary talent. Yet Armin understood that the real secret was the simple habit he practiced every morning. This example shows how the mind transforms ideas into results through consistent behavior. A goal without a supporting habit often remains a dream. A goal supported by daily action gradually becomes reality. Habits influence every part of human life. Health, learning, relationships, and productivity all depend on the patterns people repeat daily. For example, a person who develops the habit of reading regularly gains knowledge and insight over time. Another person who develops the habit of avoiding learning may struggle to expand their understanding of the world. The difference between these two individuals is not only intelligence, but the habits shaped by their mindset. Mind also creates habits through emotional experiences. When an action produces satisfaction or progress, the mind begins to associate that action with reward. This encourages repetition and strengthens the habit. Over time, the behavior becomes automatic, requiring less effort and conscious decision. Imagine a young athlete named Kareem, who dreams of becoming a champion runner. During the early days of training, he struggles with fatigue and self-doubt. The habit of waking early to practice feels difficult and uncomfortable. However, after several weeks, he begins to notice improvement in his speed and endurance. These improvements create a sense of accomplishment that motivates him to continue practicing. Eventually, running becomes a natural part of his identity and daily life. Kareem's success did not appear suddenly. It developed through the habit of consistent training, guided by the belief that progress was possible. This story demonstrates how habits grow stronger when they are connected to purpose and personal meaning. The mind can also create negative habits when thoughts are filled with fear or negativity. For example, a person who repeatedly thinks that challenges are dangerous may develop the habit of avoiding difficult situations. This habit protects them from temporary discomfort, but also prevents growth. Over time, avoidance becomes a barrier that limits opportunities and personal development. Breaking negative habits requires awareness and patience. The first step is recognizing the thought that triggers the unwanted behavior. Once the thought is identified, a person can begin replacing it with a healthier perspective. For instance, instead of thinking that a challenge will lead to failure, the person may choose to think that the challenge offers a chance to learn something valuable. This shift in thinking encourages a different action, and when that action is repeated, it begins forming a new habit. Gradually, the old pattern loses strength, while the new behavior becomes more natural. Another powerful method for building positive habits is creating a supportive environment. The environment influences behavior in subtle yet powerful ways. A person who keeps books nearby is more likely to develop the habit of reading. A person who surrounds themselves with healthy food is more likely to develop the habit of nutritious eating. These environmental cues guide the mind toward actions that align with desired goals. Social influence also plays a significant role in habit formation. When individuals spend time with people who value discipline, growth, and learning, they often adopt similar habits through observation and encouragement. Communities can inspire positive change by reinforcing behaviors that lead to improvement. History offers many examples of individuals who achieved greatness through the power of habits. Famous artists practiced their craft daily. Scientists dedicated long hours to experimentation, and leaders cultivated habits of reflection, learning, and strategic thinking. Their achievements were not the result of occasional effort, but the result of consistent practice guided by strong mental focus. One inspiring example is the story of a young musician named Lina, who dreamed of performing on great stages around her. Many people admired music, but few believed that dedication alone could lead to excellence. Lina chose to think differently. She developed a habit of practicing her instrument every day with patience and concentration. Even on days when motivation felt low, she continued following her routine. Over the years, her skills improved dramatically. The hours of practice sharpened her technique and deepened her understanding of music. Eventually, she earned opportunities to perform before large audiences. When people praised her talent, she often explained that her success was built on the simple habit of practicing consistently. The lesson from Lina's story is that habits convert dreams into skills and aspirations into achievements. The mind may imagine many possibilities, but habits give those possibilities a path toward reality. Habits also influence emotional well-being. A person who practices gratitude each day gradually trains the mind to focus on positive aspects of life. This habit reduces stress and increases feelings of satisfaction. Similarly, a habit of reflection or meditation can calm the mind and improve clarity, allowing individuals to make thoughtful decisions even during challenging times. Developing such habits requires intention and patience. In the beginning, the mind may resist new routines because it prefers familiar patterns. Yet with repetition, the new behavior becomes easier and eventually becomes part of everyday life. Just as a path forms in a forest when people walk the same route repeatedly, mental pathways strengthen when actions are repeated consistently. Relationship between mind and habit reveals an important truth. Success is rarely the result of a single dramatic effort. It is usually the outcome of many small actions performed consistently over time. Each positive habit acts like a brick, contributing to the construction of a strong and meaningful life. When individuals become aware of their habits, they gain the power to shape their future. Instead of allowing automatic routines to control their lives, they begin choosing behaviors that support their goals, values, and dreams. This awareness transforms ordinary daily actions into powerful tools for personal growth. The message of this chapter is clear. The mind creates habits, and habits create the structure of life. When thoughts encourage discipline, curiosity, and persistence, the habits that follow lead to progress and achievement. By cultivating positive routines and replacing limiting patterns, individuals can guide their lives toward success, fulfillment, and lasting growth. As the exploration of the mind continues in the next chapter, attention will turn toward the challenge of overcoming negativity and learning how to protect the mind from thoughts that weaken confidence and limit potential. Through understanding and practice, the mind can become a place of strength, optimism, and possibility, guiding each person toward the life they truly desire. Chapter 4: Overcoming Negativity. The human mind has the ability to create hope, courage, and determination, yet it also has the ability to produce fear, doubt, and discouragement. Negative thoughts often appear quietly and gradually influence how people see themselves and the world around them. If these thoughts remain unchallenged, they can grow stronger and slowly shape behavior. Confidence and opportunity. Learning how to overcome negativity is therefore one of the most important steps in mastering the power of the mind. Negativity does not always begin with large dramatic experiences. Sometimes it starts with small disappointments or simple comparisons with others. A person may fail at a task, receive criticism, or face rejection, and the mind begins to repeat a harmful message, such as the belief that success is impossible or that effort will never lead to improvement. When these messages repeat again and again, they create a mental environment filled with doubt. Imagine a young student named Ion who once dreamed of becoming an engineer. During his early school years, he enjoyed solving problems and building small models. Yet one difficult examination changed the way he saw himself. After receiving poor results, he began to believe that he lacked the ability required for his dream. Each time he faced a challenging lesson, the same thought returned to his mind, telling him that failure was inevitable. Because of this belief, Ion started avoiding difficult subjects. He stopped asking questions and gradually lost the enthusiasm he once felt for learning. His teachers noticed the change, but could not immediately understand the reason. The real obstacle was not the exam itself, but the negative thought that grew stronger after the experience. One day, Ion met an older student who shared a similar story. This student explained that he had also struggled with exams in the past, yet he decided to treat each failure as a lesson rather than a final judgment. Hearing this perspective inspired Ion to reconsider his own thinking. He realized that one moment of failure did not define his entire ability. From that day forward, Ion began challenging the negative thoughts that appeared in his mind. Whenever doubt appeared, he reminded himself that improvement was possible through practice and patience. This new attitude encouraged him to return to his studies with curiosity rather than fear. Slowly his confidence improved, and he began achieving better results. His journey showed that the greatest obstacle had been the negative voice inside his mind rather than the subject itself. Negativity often grows because the human brain naturally remembers painful experiences more strongly than pleasant ones. This tendency once helped people survive in dangerous environments, but in modern life, it can cause unnecessary worry and hesitation. When the mind focuses only on problems, it becomes difficult to notice opportunities, solutions, and progress. Another example can be seen in the life of a young woman named Nadia, who started her first job in a large company. During the first few weeks, she felt uncertain about her abilities. Every small mistake seemed enormous in her mind, and she worried constantly about disappointing her colleagues. Because of these worries, she became anxious and quiet during meetings, which made it harder for others to recognize her ideas. One evening, Nadia decided to reflect on her thoughts. She realized that she was paying attention only to mistakes while ignoring the tasks she completed successfully. The next day, she began a new practice. At the end of each day, she wrote down 3 things she had done well and 1 lesson she had learned from any difficulty. This simple habit gradually changed the way she saw her work. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by errors, she began noticing her progress and strengths. Within a few months, Nadia's confidence increased, and she began sharing ideas during discussions. Her supervisors noticed her dedication and creativity, and soon she was given greater responsibility. The change in her career began not with external recognition, but with a shift in how she directed her thoughts. These stories reveal that negativity often gains power when it remains unexamined. Once people become aware of their thought patterns, they can begin transforming them. Awareness is the first step in overcoming negativity because it allows individuals to separate themselves from harmful beliefs. Instead of accepting every thought as truth, they learn to question whether the thought supports growth or limitation. One powerful technique for overcoming negativity is replacing destructive thoughts with constructive ones. When the mind says that a goal is impossible, the person can respond by asking, what small step might lead to improvement? When the mind predicts failure, the person can focus on preparation and effort. This shift does not deny challenges, but it transforms the response to them. Another helpful approach involves focusing attention on gratitude and appreciation. When people regularly recognize the positive elements in their lives, the mind becomes less focused on fear and comparison. Gratitude encourages the brain to notice opportunities, supportive relationships, and moments of progress. This perspective strengthens emotional resilience and reduces the influence of negativity. The environment surrounding a person also plays a significant role in shaping thoughts. Individuals who spend time with supportive, encouraging people are more likely to maintain positive attitudes. Conversations filled with inspiration and learning can lift the mind above doubt and fear. In contrast, environments dominated by constant criticism or pessimism may reinforce negative thinking patterns. For this reason, many successful individuals choose carefully the influences they allow into their lives. They read books that encourage personal growth, they listen to teachers who share wisdom, and they build friendships with people who value optimism and perseverance. These influences help create a mental atmosphere where positive thoughts can thrive. Physical well-being also contributes to overcoming negativity. The body and mind are closely connected. When people rest well, eat nourishing food, and engage in regular movement, their minds become clearer and more balanced. Exercise, for example, releases energy that reduces stress and strengthens emotional stability. Even a short walk in nature can refresh the mind and reduce feelings of worry. Another powerful example of overcoming negativity can be seen in the life of a young artist named Samira. She loved painting, but often compared her work to others and felt discouraged whenever she believed her creations were not perfect. These comparisons filled her mind with doubt and made it difficult for her to enjoy the creative process. One day, a mentor encouraged Samira to focus not on comparison, but on expression. The mentor explained that every artist develops a unique style through practice and patience. Inspired by this advice, Samira began painting regularly without judging each result too harshly. She treated every painting as an opportunity to learn rather than a test of perfection. As months passed, her skills improved and her confidence grew. She began sharing her artwork with others and received appreciation that surprised her. The negativity that once limited her creativity gradually disappeared because she changed the way she thought about her work. Journey of Samira reminds us that negativity often fades when people choose curiosity and learning instead of fear and comparison. Every step toward growth weakens the hold of discouraging thoughts. Overcoming negativity does not mean eliminating all difficult emotions. Challenges, disappointments, and moments of doubt are natural parts of life. The goal is not to avoid these experiences, but to respond to them with resilience and understanding. A strong mind acknowledges difficulty while still believing in the possibility of progress. People learn to guide their thoughts with awareness, patience, and determination. They gradually build mental strength. Each time they challenge a negative belief, they reinforce the idea that their future is not controlled by fear, but by choice. This process transforms the mind into a powerful ally rather than an obstacle. The message of this chapter is that negativity may appear naturally, but it does not have to control the direction of life. Through awareness, positive habits, supportive environments, and consistent effort, individuals can reshape their thinking and protect their confidence. When the mind learns to rise above doubt and focus on growth, the path toward achievement becomes clearer and more hopeful. As the exploration continues in the next chapter, attention will turn toward the creative power of imagination and visualization, revealing how the mind can transform dreams into reality by clearly seeing possibilities before they appear in the physical world. Chapter 5: Visualization and Creation. The human mind possesses a remarkable ability that separates it from many other forms of life. The ability is imagination. Through imagination, people can see possibilities before they exist. They can design ideas, create plans, and envision futures that have not yet appeared in reality. This power of visualization allows the mind to become a creator, shaping the direction of life long before results appear in the physical world. Visualization is the practice of forming clear images in the mind about a goal, dream, or desired outcome. When people imagine success vividly, the Mind begins to align thoughts, emotions, and actions with that vision. In this way, imagination becomes the first step toward creation. Many great achievements in history began as ideas inside the minds of individuals who dared to imagine something new. Consider the story of a young athlete named Farhan, who dreamed of becoming a champion runner. When he first joined a training program, he was not the fastest member of the group. Many runners around him seemed stronger and more experienced. Farhan often wondered whether he truly belonged among them. Yet his coach introduced him to a powerful mental exercise. The coach asked him to spend a few minutes every day imagining himself running with strength, confidence, and determination each morning. Farhan closed his eyes and pictured himself on the track. He imagined the sound of his footsteps, the rhythm of his breathing, and the feeling of crossing the finish line with pride. This practice did not replace physical training, but it strengthened his focus and belief. Over time, Farhan noticed that his body began responding to the images in his mind. He trained with greater energy and concentration, and his performance steadily improved. Months later, Farhan participated in an important competition. Many spectators expected other runners to win, but Farhan remained calm because he had already seen the race many times in his imagination. When the race began, he followed the rhythm he had practiced mentally and finished among the leading athletes. His success was not only the result of physical effort, but also the result of the vision he repeated in his mind every day. The story of Farhan demonstrates an important truth. The mind influences the body and behavior through mental imagery. When people visualize success clearly, the brain begins preparing for the actions required to achieve it. Athletes, artists, musicians, and leaders often use visualization to strengthen confidence and sharpen performance. Another example can be seen in the life of a young architect named Lena. Since childhood, she loved observing buildings and imagining creative designs. She often carried a notebook where she sketched structures that existed only in her imagination. Some people around her believed that these ideas were unrealistic, yet Lena continued developing her visions with patience and curiosity as she studied architecture. She realized that many famous buildings once existed only as drawings and ideas in someone's mind. The architects who created them began with imagination before turning those images into detailed plans. Inspired by this realization, Lena practiced visualizing the spaces she wanted to design. She imagined how people would walk through them, how light would enter the rooms, and how the structures would serve the community. Years later, Lena completed a project that gained recognition for its beauty and innovation. When asked how she developed the design, she explained that the building first existed clearly in her mind before it appeared on paper. Her imagination guided every stage of creation. Visualization is not simply daydreaming. It is a focused process that helps the mind understand what it is working toward. When a goal becomes clear in the imagination, the mind begins searching for ways to make it real. Ideas, solutions, and opportunities often appear more easily when a person knows exactly what they want to achieve. This process can be compared to a traveler using a map. If the destination is unknown, the traveler may wander without direction, but when the destination is clear, each step becomes purposeful. Visualization provides that mental map, allowing individuals to move toward their goals with clarity and determination. The power of visualization can also be applied to personal development. Consider the experience of a student named Hamza, who wished to become more confident when speaking in public. Each time he stood before a group, he felt nervous and uncertain. Instead of avoiding the challenge, he decided to practice visualization before every presentation. He imagined himself standing calmly, speaking clearly, and connecting with his audience. In his mind, he saw people listening with interest and understanding his message. At first, this exercise felt unusual, yet Hamza repeated it regularly. Over time, his mind began to accept the image of confidence as a natural state. The day of an important presentation arrived. Hamza still felt a small amount of nervous energy, but he also felt prepared because he had already experienced the situation many times in his imagination. As he spoke, his confidence grew, and the presentation became one of his most successful moments in school. His mental rehearsal helped transform fear into readiness. Visualization works because the brain responds strongly to detailed mental images. When people repeatedly imagine an action, the brain activates patterns similar to those used during the real activity. This process strengthens focus, coordination, and emotional control, allowing individuals to perform with greater confidence. Many successful individuals combine visualization with consistent effort. They imagine their goals clearly while also taking practical steps to achieve them. A musician may visualize performing beautifully on stage while practicing the instrument daily. A scientist may imagine discovering a new solution while conducting careful experiments. The vision inspires the effort, and the effort gradually transforms the vision into reality. Visualization also strengthens motivation. When people hold a clear image of their desired future, they feel more inspired to overcome obstacles. Difficult moments become easier to endure because the mind remembers the purpose behind the effort. The vision acts as a guiding light that encourages persistence, even when progress feels slow. However, effective visualization requires honesty and commitment. Imagining success alone is not enough. The vision must be supported by learning, discipline, and action. When imagination and effort work together, the results become powerful and lasting. Helpful method for practicing visualization involves setting aside quiet time each day. During this time, individuals can close their eyes and picture their goals with as much detail as possible. They may imagine the environment, the emotions, and the steps involved in reaching the desired outcome. Repeating this practice regularly strengthens the mental image and keeps the goal present in the mind. Another approach involves writing descriptions of the future one hopes to create. Writing allows the mind to organize thoughts and transform abstract dreams into clear intentions. Many leaders and creators have used journals to record their visions and track their progress toward them. Visualization can also extend beyond personal success to include positive contributions to society. When people imagine how their talents can benefit others, they often feel a deeper sense of purpose. A teacher may imagine inspiring students, a doctor may imagine healing patients, and an inventor may imagine creating tools that improve daily life. These visions guide actions that bring value to the world. The ability to visualize reminds us that the mind is not limited to reacting to present circumstances. It can explore possibilities, design solutions, and build futures that once existed only as ideas. Every invention, discovery, and masterpiece began with someone imagining what could be, rather than accepting what already existed. Message of this chapter is that imagination is a powerful force in shaping reality. When individuals use visualization with clarity, determination, and consistent effort, they awaken the creative power of the mind. Dreams begin as thoughts, thoughts become plans, and plans become actions that transform vision into achievement. As the journey through the power of the mind continues, the next chapter will explore how focus and concentration strengthen the ability to turn ideas into results, revealing how disciplined attention allows individuals to direct their mental energy toward meaningful goals and lasting success. Chapter 6: Focus and the Direction of the Mind. The human mind possesses enormous energy, yet this energy becomes powerful only when it is directed with focus. Without focus, the mind behaves like scattered light spreading in many directions. With focus, the mind becomes like a beam of sunlight passing through a lens strong enough to ignite fire. This ability to concentrate attention on one purpose is one of the most important qualities behind success, growth, and achievement. Every person experiences moments when the mind wanders from one thought to another. Thoughts about the past appear suddenly, then thoughts about the future replace them. Soon the mind jumps toward worries, distractions, or memories. When attention moves constantly, it becomes difficult to complete tasks. learn deeply, or pursue long-term goals. The challenge, therefore, is not that the mind lacks power, but that the mind often lacks direction. Focus gives direction to the energy of thought. It allows individuals to place their attention fully on one task, idea, or goal until meaningful progress is achieved. When people develop strong concentration, they are able to learn faster, solve problems more effectively, and transform ideas into reality. Consider the story of a young student named Rahim, who dreamed of becoming a scientist since childhood. He loved asking questions about nature and technology. Yet when he began advanced studies, he found it difficult to concentrate for long periods. Many distractions surrounded him, including noise, conversation, and constant messages on digital devices. Each time he tried to study, his mind quickly moved towards something else. Rahim realized that if he wished to achieve his dream, he needed to train his mind to remain focused. He began by creating a quiet environment for learning. During his study time, he turned off unnecessary distractions and kept only the materials related to his subject. At first, he practiced focusing for short periods, perhaps 30 minutes at a time. During these moments, he gave complete attention to reading, experiments, and problem solving. Gradually, his ability to concentrate improved. What once felt difficult became natural. Rahim discovered that focused study helped him understand complex ideas more clearly and remember information for longer periods. His progress in science became stronger each year, and eventually he gained recognition for his research. Rahim's journey demonstrates an important truth. Focus transforms effort into meaningful results. Many people work hard, yet their attention remains divided among many activities. When effort is scattered, the results are often limited. When effort is concentrated, the same energy produces far greater progress. Another example can be seen in the life of a young painter named Alina, who wished to develop her artistic talent. She enjoyed painting, but often moved quickly from one idea to another. Without finishing a piece, she would start a new project and leave the previous one incomplete. As a result, her skills improved slowly because she rarely spent enough time exploring each technique deeply. One day, Alina attended an art workshop where a mentor explained the value of focused practice. The mentor encouraged students to choose one subject and study it carefully until they understood every detail. Inspired by this advice, Alina began dedicating several hours each day to a single painting. She observed color, shapes, and textures with patience, allowing herself to become completely absorbed in the creative process. As weeks passed, her concentration deepened and her paintings became more expressive and refined. The habit of focus allowed her to explore ideas fully rather than abandoning them. Halfway, her work began attracting admiration from other artists, and eventually she held her first exhibition. The story of Alina reveals how focus strengthens creativity. Many people believe creativity requires constant change and excitement, yet true creativity often grows from patient attention. When the mind concentrates deeply, it discovers subtle patterns and possibilities that would otherwise remain hidden. Focus also plays an essential role in overcoming obstacles. When people encounter difficulty, their minds may be tempted to give up or shift attention to something easier. However, individuals who maintain focus continue searching for solutions until they find a path forward. This persistence often leads to breakthroughs that transform challenges into achievements. Consider the experience of a young entrepreneur named Hamid, who started a small technology company. In the early days, his project faced many difficulties, including limited resources, technical problems, and uncertainty about the future. Several times he felt tempted to abandon the idea and pursue a simpler career. Yet he chose to remain focused on the vision that inspired him every day. Hamid spent hours improving his product, studying market needs, and speaking with potential partners. Instead of worrying about every obstacle at once, he concentrated on solving one problem at a time. This focused approach allowed him to move steadily forward even during uncertain moments. Eventually, his company developed a successful service that gained attention from investors and customers. Hamid's success was not created by luck alone. It emerged from the disciplined focus that guided his efforts day after day. His story reminds us that great accomplishments often require sustained attention over long periods of time. Developing focus requires both mental and practical habits. One helpful method involves setting clear priorities. When people know exactly what they want to achieve, their minds become less distracted by unnecessary activities. A clear goal acts like a compass guiding attention toward meaningful tasks. Another useful practice involves dividing large goals into smaller steps. Each step becomes a manageable target that the mind can focus on completely. By completing these smaller tasks, individuals build momentum and confidence, which strengthens their ability to remain attentive. Time management also supports concentration. Setting specific periods for work, learning, rest, and reflection helps the mind develop rhythm and discipline. During focused periods, distractions should be minimized so that attention can remain fully engaged with the task at hand. Many individuals also practice techniques that calm the mind, such as meditation, quiet breathing, or moments of reflection. These practices train the mind to observe thoughts without becoming overwhelmed by them. Over time, this awareness improves the ability to return attention to the present moment whenever distractions appear. The environment surrounding a person can influence focus as well. Spaces that are organized, calm, and free from excessive noise support concentration. By creating a dedicated place for study work or creativity, individuals signal to their minds that this environment is meant for purposeful activity. Focus not only increases productivity, but also deepens satisfaction. When people devote full attention to what they are doing, they often experience a sense of immersion where time seems to pass quickly and the activity becomes deeply engaging. This state brings both effectiveness and enjoyment, allowing individuals to experience fulfillment in their efforts. It is important to remember that focus does not mean ignoring every other aspect of life. Balance remains essential. Rest, relationships, and recreation provide energy that supports sustained attention. Without balance, the mind may become tired and lose its clarity. Therefore, wise individuals alternate periods of intense concentration with moments of relaxation and renewal. Connection between thought and focus reveals another dimension of the principle that the mind is everything. When thoughts are scattered, life often feels chaotic and directionless. When thoughts are guided with concentration, the path toward achievement becomes clearer. Every focused moment acts as a step toward the future a person wishes to create. The message of this chapter is that focus is the bridge between imagination and accomplishment. Visualization creates the dream. Belief strengthens determination. Habits support consistent action, and focus directs mental energy toward the goal. When these elements work together, the mind becomes an instrument of extraordinary potential. Chapter 7. Persistence and the strength of determination. Every great achievement in human history has required persistence. Dreams rarely become reality through a single effort or a short moment of enthusiasm. Instead, they grow through repeated attempts, patience, and determination. Persistence is the quiet strength that allows individuals to continue moving forward even when progress feels slow or challenges appear difficult. The mind often seeks comfort and quick results. When effort does not immediately produce success, many people feel discouraged and consider abandoning their goals. Yet those who understand the power of persistence view difficulties differently. They recognize that obstacles are not signs of failure, but steps in the learning process. Each challenge teaches something valuable that brings them closer to success. Persistence begins with a decision inside the mind. The decision is simple yet powerful. It is the choice to continue despite uncertainty, doubt, or temporary setbacks. Once a person commits to this choice, their actions begin reflecting determination rather than hesitation. Consider the story of a young inventor named Yusuf, who dreamed of creating a device that could help farmers manage water more efficiently in dry regions. Yusuf grew up in a small village where agriculture depended heavily on unpredictable rainfall. He often watched farmers struggle when crops failed due to lack of water. These experiences inspired him to search for a solution. After studying engineering, Yusuf began designing a system that could measure soil moisture and guide irrigation automatically. His first attempt did not work as expected. The sensors were inaccurate, and the system failed to respond properly to environmental conditions. Many people around him suggested that he abandon the idea and pursue a simpler career. However, Yusuf believed deeply in the importance of his goal. Instead of giving up, he studied the reasons for the failure and redesigned the system again and again. Each attempt brought new challenges, but also new knowledge. Months turned into years of experimentation and improvement. Eventually, he developed a reliable device that helped farmers use water more efficiently and increase crop production. The success of Yusuf's invention did not appear overnight. It emerged from persistence and the willingness to continue learning from every setback. His story reminds us that failure is often a teacher guiding the mind toward better solutions. Another example can be seen in the life of a young musician named Karina, who aspired to perform on large stages. Her love for music began early in childhood, yet her journey toward mastery was not easy. Learning complex compositions required long hours of practice and many performances during which mistakes occurred. During one important concert, Karina forgot part of a piece she had practiced for months. The experience embarrassed her, and she considered giving up public performances for a while. Yet after reflecting on the situation, she realized that every musician faces moments of imperfection. Instead of allowing the mistake to define her, she returned to practice with renewed determination. Day after day, she refined her technique, strengthened her memory, and performed in smaller events to rebuild confidence. Gradually, her persistence transformed uncertainty into strength. Years later, she performed successfully before large audiences, and her music touched the hearts of many listeners. Karina's journey demonstrates that persistence is closely connected to courage. The courage to continue after disappointment allows individuals to transform temporary defeat into long-term growth. Persistence also plays a crucial role in learning. When people study new subjects, their understanding develops gradually. Through repetition and effort, a student may struggle with a difficult concept at first, yet each attempt to understand it strengthens the mind ability to process information. Over time, the once confusing idea becomes clear because persistence allowed the mind to remain engaged with the challenge. Imagine a student named Imran who wished to master mathematics. During the early stages of his studies, he often felt frustrated because complex problems required careful reasoning. His classmates sometimes solved the questions more quickly, which made him doubt his ability. Yet Imran decided that persistence would be his greatest advantage. Instead of comparing himself with others, he focused on practicing consistently. Whenever he encountered a difficult problem, he spent time analyzing each step until he understood the method. Gradually, his persistence improved both his knowledge and his confidence. By the end of the year, he had become one of the strongest students in the class, not because he was naturally faster, but because he refused to give up. The connection between persistence and the mind is powerful. Each time a person continues working toward a goal, despite obstacles, the mind becomes stronger and more resilient. The belief that success is possible grows deeper, and this belief fuels further effort. Persistence also requires patience. Many goals require time to develop because meaningful progress often occurs step by step. Just as a tree grows slowly from a small seed, achievements grow gradually through sustained effort. People who expect immediate success may lose motivation when results take longer than expected. Those who understand patience remain committed because they know that growth follows its own natural rhythm. Consider the story of a young entrepreneur named Zain who started a small online business selling handmade crafts. During the first months, very few customers visited his store and the income was minimal. Some friends advised him to close the business and search for traditional employment. Instead, Zane treated the early stage as an opportunity to learn. He studied marketing, improved the quality of his products, and communicated with customers to understand their needs. Every small improvement brought a few more visitors to his website. Although progress was slow, his persistence allowed the business to grow steadily. After several years, his store became widely recognized and provided income not only for himself, but also for other artisans who joined his project. Zane experience shows that persistence transforms small beginnings into meaningful achievements. When individuals remain dedicated to their vision, they gradually build momentum that leads to greater opportunities. Another aspect of persistence is the ability to maintain motivation during difficult times. Motivation often rises and falls like waves. Some days energy feels strong, while other days effort feels heavy. During such moments, persistence becomes especially important because it encourages individuals to continue acting even when inspiration is low. By maintaining consistent effort, people ensure that progress does not stop. Completely support from others can also strengthen persistence. Encouragement from mentors, family members, and friends reminds individuals that their efforts matter. Positive words and shared experiences provide emotional strength that helps the mind remain determined. However, the most powerful source of persistence comes from inner purpose. When a person clearly understands why a goal is meaningful, they develop a deep commitment to achieving it. This sense of purpose acts like a guiding star that keeps the mind focused even during periods of uncertainty. The relationship between persistence and the mind reveals a fundamental principle: thoughts influence endurance. When the mind believes that obstacles are temporary, it becomes easier to continue working toward the goal. When the mind believes that difficulties are permanent, it may surrender too quickly. By cultivating thoughts of resilience, individuals strengthen their ability to persist. Every step taken with persistence becomes part of a larger journey. Small daily efforts accumulate over time, eventually producing results that once seemed impossible. The path toward success rarely appears smooth, but persistence transforms each challenge into an opportunity to grow wiser, stronger, and more capable. The message of this chapter is clear: persistence is the bridge between effort and achievement. It allows individuals to continue learning, adapting, and progressing, even when circumstances are difficult. Through patience, determination, and belief in their purpose, people can transform setbacks into stepping stones toward success. In the next chapter, the exploration of the mind will focus on confidence and self-belief, revealing how the way individuals see themselves influences their actions, decisions, and ability to reach their full potential. When confidence grows within the mind, it becomes a powerful force guiding individuals toward courage, opportunity, and lasting fulfillment. Chapter 8: Confidence and Self-Belief. Confidence is one of the most powerful qualities that can grow inside the human mind. It is the quiet belief that a person is capable of learning, growing, and overcoming challenges. When confidence is present, people move through life with courage, curiosity, and determination. When confidence is weak, even simple opportunities may feel frightening or impossible. Self-belief begins with the way individuals think about themselves. The mind constantly forms opinions about personal abilities, strengths, and limitations. These internal opinions influence every action a person takes. If the mind repeats the message that success is possible, the individual approaches life with energy and hope. If the mind repeats the message that failure is certain, the person may hesitate or avoid challenges completely. Confidence does not mean believing that mistakes will never happen. Instead, it means trusting that mistakes can be corrected and that growth is always possible. People with strong self-belief understand that learning often requires effort, patience, and resilience. They see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to become stronger and wiser consider the story of a young girl named Sana, who loved speaking and sharing ideas. During school discussions, she often had interesting thoughts, yet she rarely raised her hand to participate. She worried that her answers might be incorrect or that others might judge her words. Because of these fears, her confidence slowly faded, and she began remaining silent, even when she understood the subject clearly. One day, her teacher noticed this pattern and encouraged her to share a simple answer during class. The teacher reminded her that learning is not about perfection, but about participation. Sana gathered her courage and spoke briefly. The experience was not dramatic, yet it gave her a small sense of accomplishment. After that moment, she continued participating in small ways. Each time she spoke, her confidence increased slightly. Over the following months, her classmates began appreciating her ideas, and she discovered that her voice had value. By the end of the year, Sana became one of the most active students in discussions. Her confidence had grown not because she suddenly became perfect, but because she practiced believing in her ability to contribute. The story of Sana shows that confidence often grows through action rather than waiting for perfect conditions. When people take small steps, despite uncertainty, they collect experiences that strengthen their belief in themselves. Another example can be seen in the life of a young mechanic named Bilal, who dreamed of opening his own workshop. Bilal possessed strong technical skills, yet he doubted his ability to manage a business. He believed that successful entrepreneurs must possess extraordinary knowledge and resources that he did not have. Because of this belief, he continued working for others, even though he wished to start something of his own. One day, a friend encouraged him to reconsider his thoughts. The friend pointed out that Bilal already had years of experience repairing machines and building trust with customers. The only missing element was confidence in his ability to lead a business. Inspired by this perspective, Bilal began studying basic management and saving money. For a small workspace, the first months were challenging because he had to learn new responsibilities, including communication, marketing, and planning. Yet each problem he solved increased his confidence. Over time, his workshop gained loyal customers who appreciated his dedication and honesty. Bilal realized that the greatest barrier he had faced was not lack of skill, but lack of belief in himself. Confidence grows stronger when individuals recognize their progress. Every achievement, no matter how small, provides evidence that effort leads to improvement. When the mind observes these successes, it begins replacing doubt with trust in personal capability. However, confidence must also be balanced with humility. Humility reminds individuals that learning never ends and that every person can grow further. When confidence and humility work together, the mind remains both strong and open to improvement. This balance allows people to continue developing their abilities without becoming discouraged by occasional setbacks. Another important element of self-belief is the ability to accept failure as part of growth. Many individuals lose confidence after experiencing rejection or disappointment, yet those who maintain strong self-belief understand that failure is not a final judgment, but a temporary experience that provides valuable lessons. Consider the story of a young writer named Rahan, who submitted his stories to several publishers, hoping to see his work printed in books. The first responses he received were letters of rejection. Each message explained that his writing required further improvement. These replies made him question whether he truly possessed the talent to become an author. After reflecting on the situation, Rahan decided to treat the feedback as guidance rather than defeat. He studied the craft of storytelling more carefully and practiced writing every day. He revised his work repeatedly, learning from each suggestion he received. Eventually, his stories became stronger, and one of them was accepted for publication. When readers later praised his creativity, they did not see the many moments when he doubted himself. Yet those moments had been essential because they encouraged him to strengthen his skills and confidence through persistence. Confidence is also influenced by the environment in which a person lives. Supportive communities provide encouragement that helps individuals believe in their potential. When teachers, mentors, friends, or family members express faith in someone's ability, they often awaken confidence that was previously hidden. At the same time, individuals must learn to cultivate inner encouragement, because external praise may not always be present. Developing positive self-talk is one method for strengthening self-belief. When people remind themselves of their abilities and progress, they create a mental atmosphere that supports courage and determination. Another powerful practice involves visualizing success before taking action. As discussed in the previous chapter, visualization prepares the mind for achievement. When individuals imagine themselves acting with confidence, their thoughts, emotions, and behavior begin aligning with that image. Physical posture and body language can also influence confidence. Standing upright, speaking clearly, and maintaining steady breathing send signals to the brain that reinforce feelings of strength. These simple actions help the mind shift from fear to readiness, especially during important moments such as presentations, conversations, or performances. Confidence grows gradually through experience, learning, and self-awareness. Each time a person confronts a challenge and continues moving forward, their belief in their abilities becomes stronger. This process builds resilience, allowing them to face larger opportunities in the future. Relationship between confidence and the mind reveals an important principle. People often become what they believe about themselves. When the mind is filled with encouragement, determination, and trust, individuals act with courage and openness. These actions attract opportunities that support growth and achievement. On the other hand, when the mind is dominated by doubt, individuals may withdraw from situations that could lead to success. Their talents remain hidden not because they are absent, but because fear prevents them from being expressed. The purpose of developing confidence is not simply personal success, but also the ability to contribute positively to the world. When individuals believe in their potential, they are more willing to share ideas, help others, and pursue goals that benefit society. Confidence, therefore, becomes a source of creativity, leadership, and inspiration. The message of this chapter is that self-belief is a powerful force shaping human behavior and achievement. Confidence grows through action, learning, and perseverance, and it strengthens every time individuals choose courage instead of fear. By nurturing positive thoughts about their abilities, people unlock potential that may have remained hidden for years. In the next chapter, the exploration will move toward the influence of environment and relationships, revealing how the people and surroundings around us affect the way our minds think, believe, and grow. Through understanding these influences, individuals can create environments that support positive thinking, success, and meaningful progress in life. Chapter 9. The influence of environment and people. The human mind does not grow in isolation. Every thought, belief, and habit is influenced by the environment in which a person lives. The people we meet, the conversations we hear, the places we spend time in, and the experiences we face all leave impressions on our minds. These impressions slowly shape our attitudes, our confidence, and our understanding of what is possible. Environment acts like soil for the mind. Just as plants grow differently, depending on the quality of the soil, the human mind develops according to the influences surrounding it. When the environment is filled with encouragement, learning, and positive energy, the mind grows stronger and more creative. When the environment is filled with negativity, criticism, and discouragement, the mind may struggle to develop confidence and motivation. Many successful individuals understand this truth and make conscious choices about the influences they allow into their lives. They seek knowledge, supportive friendships, and experiences that inspire growth, because they recognize that the mind absorbs ideas from its surroundings. They choose environments that strengthen their goals and values. Consider the story of a young boy named Haris, who grew up in a neighborhood where many people believed that education was not important. Most individuals around him focused only on short-term work and rarely spoke about long-term dreams. Because Haris heard these ideas every day, he began believing that learning was unnecessary and that his future would be limited to the same routine. One day, a teacher invited Haris to join a small study group where students discussed books, science, and personal goals. The environment of this group was very different from the one he experienced at home. Students encouraged one another to ask questions and explore new ideas. They shared stories of scientists, inventors, and leaders who changed the world through knowledge. Spending time in this environment slowly changed the way Haris saw himself. He began realizing that education could open doors to opportunities he had never imagined. His interest in learning grew stronger, and he started dedicating more time to reading and studying. Over the years, his dedication helped him earn scholarships and eventually pursue a career in engineering. The transformation of Haris' life was influenced not only by his personal effort, but also by the environment that encouraged his curiosity and ambition. The supportive group acted as fertile soil where his potential could grow. Another example can be seen in the life of a young woman named Mira, who dreamed of becoming a photographer. She loved capturing moments of nature and daily life, yet she often felt uncertain about pursuing photography as a career. Some people around her believed that creative professions were unstable and discouraged her from exploring that path. Later, Mira attended a community workshop where she met other photographers who shared techniques, experiences, and inspiration. The atmosphere of the workshop was filled with enthusiasm for creativity. Participants discussed ideas, supported one another, and celebrated artistic progress. This environment gave Mira the courage to continue developing her talent. She learned new skills, practiced regularly, and began sharing her work publicly. Her photographs eventually gained recognition because she allowed herself to grow in a space that valued creativity rather than dismissing it. These stories illustrate an important lesson. The people and environments surrounding us influence our thoughts often without our awareness. When individuals spend time with optimistic, motivated, and supportive people, they naturally absorb similar attitudes. Their minds begin believing that growth and achievement are possible. On the other hand, constant exposure to negativity can weaken motivation. If conversations frequently focus on problems, complaints, and fear, the mind may begin expecting disappointment rather than opportunity. This expectation shapes behavior and limits progress. For this reason, wise individuals become careful about the influences they accept into their daily lives. They seek friendships that encourage learning, honesty, and mutual respect. Such relationships create an atmosphere where ideas can flourish and confidence can grow. Mentorship is another powerful element of a positive environment. Mentors are individuals who share knowledge, guidance, and encouragement based on their own experiences. A mentor can help someone see possibilities that were previously hidden by doubt. Through advice and support, mentors strengthen the belief that progress is achievable. Consider the story of a young athlete named Cameron, who wanted to become a professional football player. He practiced frequently, but sometimes felt unsure whether he had the ability to reach his goal. A coach noticed his dedication and began guiding him through advanced training and mental preparation. The coach not only improved Cameron's skills, but also encouraged discipline, focus, and confidence. Through this supportive relationship, Cameron learned how to manage pressure, remain persistent, and continue improving despite setbacks. Eventually, he joined a competitive team and began building a successful career in sports. Cameron's journey demonstrates how positive guidance can shape both skill and mindset. A mentor helps the mind recognize strengths that may otherwise remain hidden. Environment also includes the information people consume through books, music, media, and digital communication. The ideas presented through these sources influence the way individuals perceive the world. When people regularly read inspiring books, listen to educational material, and engage with constructive ideas, their minds become richer with knowledge and optimism. For example, a student named Nadia once struggled with motivation because she spent most of her free time watching entertainment that offered little inspiration. One day, she discovered a collection of biographies describing the lives of explorers, scientists, and entrepreneurs. These stories introduced her to individuals who achieved remarkable success through determination and creativity. Reading these biographies transformed Nadia's perspective. She realized that many great people began their journeys with ordinary circumstances, yet changed their lives through dedication. This realization inspired her to develop new goals and approach her studies with greater enthusiasm. Another important aspect of environment is physical space. Clean, organized, and peaceful surroundings support concentration and creativity. When a workspace is cluttered or chaotic, the mind may feel distracted and overwhelmed. By arranging spaces for learning, reflection, and productivity, individuals create environments that support focused thinking. Nature also plays a valuable role in mental well-being. Time spent outdoors among trees, water, and open skies often refreshes the mind and reduces stress. Such environments encourage calm reflection, allowing individuals to reconnect with their goals and values. While environment strongly influences the mind, it is also important to remember that individuals have the power to shape their surroundings. When people choose supportive friendships, seek knowledge, and create positive routines, they actively build an environment that encourages growth. Even small changes in daily habits, such as reading uplifting material or spending time with inspiring individuals, can gradually transform the atmosphere of life. The connection between environment and the mind reveals a powerful truth. Thoughts are not formed entirely in isolation. They grow through interaction with the world around us. By choosing environments that support curiosity, courage, and learning, individuals protect their minds from negativity and strengthen their path toward success. The message of this chapter is that surrounding influences matter greatly in shaping who we become. By building relationships with positive people, seeking guidance from mentors, and creating spaces that support learning, individuals nourish their minds with the inspiration required for growth. In the next chapter, the exploration of the mind will focus on gratitude and positive outlook, revealing how appreciation for life experiences strengthens emotional balance and opens the mind to opportunities, joy, and deeper fulfillment. Chapter 10. Gratitude and the Power of Positive Outlook. The human mind has the remarkable ability to notice patterns and focus on what is present in life. The way a person perceives experiences influences thoughts, emotions, and actions. When the mind focuses primarily on lack, difficulty, and disappointment, it grows heavy and discouraged. When the mind chooses to notice opportunities, blessings, and progress, it grows light, resilient, and energized. This practice of gratitude shapes both perception and reality. Gratitude begins as a simple awareness of what is valuable or meaningful in life. It can be as small as appreciating a kind gesture, a warm meal, a beautiful sunset, or a supportive friend. When people regularly acknowledge these aspects, their minds develop a habit of focusing on abundance rather than scarcity. Over time, this habit strengthens positivity and emotional resilience. Consider the story of a young teacher named Ikra, who worked in a challenging school where resources were limited. Many students faced personal difficulties, and the work often felt exhausting. At first, Ikra focused on what was lacking: classroom materials, cooperation from some students, and the demands of administrative tasks. This focus on difficulty made her feel frustrated and overwhelmed. One day, a colleague suggested she keep a small journal in which she would write 3 things she was grateful for at the end of each day. Ikra began the practice reluctantly, yet consistently. She wrote about the small moments of joy she noticed: a student helping another, a creative project completed, a smile shared during recess. Within weeks, Ikra observed a shift in her perception. She began noticing more positive events throughout the day, which had previously gone unnoticed. Her mind became more open to solutions rather than problems. Her energy increased, and she discovered more patience and creativity in teaching. The practice of gratitude does not ignore difficulty, but balances it by directing attention toward what is good and meaningful. This balance strengthens the mind and allows individuals to respond to challenges with clarity rather than discouragement. Another example can be seen in the life of a young engineer named Saad, who worked long hours on a complex project. Initially, he focused on the obstacles, tight deadlines, technical glitches, and critical supervisors. His stress increased, and he felt drained by the workload. Saad decided to adopt a mindset of gratitude. He began appreciating each small progress. He made each solution he discovered, and the support of his team members. As he practiced this daily, he noticed his energy improving, his creativity increasing, and his ability to solve problems more efficiently. Gratitude did not remove challenges, but it changed how his mind perceived them, allowing him to navigate them with greater calm and effectiveness. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. People who appreciate others create an atmosphere of respect, trust, and connection. When individuals express sincere thanks to friends, family, colleagues, or mentors, they encourage mutual support and positivity. Relationships thrive when acknowledgement and kindness are consistently present. The mind responds strongly to positive emotions associated with gratitude. When individuals focus on what they value, the brain releases chemicals that reduce stress, increase happiness, and improve motivation. This positive feedback encourages continued action toward goals and strengthens resilience in difficult times. Gratitude and positive outlook also interact with visualization and confidence. By noticing progress and value in life, the mind strengthens belief in personal abilities and in the possibility of meaningful achievements. People who combine gratitude with focused effort and imagination are able to maintain optimism even when challenges arise. Consider the story of a young athlete named Nyla, who trained for long months to qualify for a competition. She often faced fatigue, injury, and moments of doubt. Initially, she focused on her limitations and felt discouraged regularly. A coach encouraged Nyla to practice daily reflection, focusing on progress, strengths, and small victories along her training journey. Nyla began appreciating each improvement in her technique, her endurance, and the support of her training partners. This perspective strengthened her determination and mental resilience. When the competition arrived, she performed at her best, not because the challenge disappeared, but because her mind had learned to notice what was possible, what had been achieved, and the effort she had invested. The practice of gratitude also shapes long-term happiness. Studies show that individuals who regularly focus on appreciation experience higher life satisfaction and emotional stability. They are less likely to be overwhelmed by setbacks and more likely to notice opportunities for growth and connection. Positive outlook is not simply a naive belief that everything will always go perfectly. It is a conscious decision to interpret experiences in a way that supports learning, hope, and resilience. When people develop this outlook, their minds naturally generate solutions, notice opportunities, and maintain energy even in difficult circumstances. Another practical approach involves daily reflection. Each evening, individuals can spend a few minutes recalling events, achievements, and moments they value. Writing or speaking these observations strengthens mental pathways of positivity, gradually replacing automatic attention to problems with recognition of potential and progress. Physical habits can also support a positive mindset. Simple practices such as exercise, time in nature, proper rest, and mindful breathing reinforce mental clarity and emotional balance. When the body feels cared for, the mind is more receptive to optimism and gratitude. Positive outlook extends to creativity and problem solving as well. When the mind believes that solutions exist and opportunities are present, it becomes easier to think flexibly, experiment, and adapt. Pessimistic thinking narrows perception, while gratitude and positivity expand it, allowing the mind to see possibilities previously unnoticed. The stories of Ikra, Saad, and Nyla illustrate the central truth that gratitude and positive focus empower the mind to navigate challenges with strength and resilience. By consciously choosing to notice value and opportunity, individuals cultivate emotional balance, sharpen perception, and increase motivation to pursue meaningful goals. The connection between gratitude and personal growth reveals a larger principle. The mind reflects what it focuses on. When attention rests on lack, fear, or failure, life feels limited and stressful. When attention rests on progress, opportunity, and appreciation, life becomes energizing, inspiring, and filled with possibility. The message of this chapter is that gratitude and positive outlook are essential tools for shaping the mind and guiding life. Regular recognition of value, combined with effort, focus, and persistence, strengthens confidence, resilience, and the ability to create meaningful achievements. Through appreciation, the mind becomes not only stronger, but also more joyful and capable of transforming dreams into reality. In the next chapter, the exploration will move toward the role of purpose, showing how clarity of intention gives direction to the mind, aligns energy with goals, and turns thoughts and effort into meaningful contributions and lasting fulfillment. Conclusion: the mind is the architect of life. The journey through the chapters of this exploration reveals a simple yet profound truth. The mind is everything. What a person thinks shapes what they become. The thoughts, beliefs, habits, persistence, confidence, environment, and gratitude all interact to create the reality each individual experiences. The mind is not merely a passive observer of life. It is the active architect shaping every choice, action, and outcome. Throughout life, individuals face challenges, uncertainties, and moments of doubt. Yet the mind holds the power to transform these obstacles into opportunities. Through belief, people can expand what seems possible. Through habits, repeated actions turn dreams into reality. Through focus, scattered energy becomes directed and purposeful. Through persistence, setbacks become stepping stones rather than barriers. Through confidence, courage emerges even in the face of difficulty. Through gratitude, the mind grows resilient, joyful, and open to possibility. The stories of Ravi, Alana, Malik, Lina, Farhan, Rahim, Yusuf, Sana, Haris, Ikra, and many others illustrate that external circumstances do not solely determine outcomes. What truly matters is how the mind perceives, responds, and guides action. Even ordinary individuals, when they align their thoughts with purpose and practice, can achieve extraordinary results. A key principle emerges from this understanding. Life responds to the quality of thought. A mind focused on growth, opportunity, and possibility attracts experiences that reflect that mindset. A mind consumed by doubt, fear, and negativity reinforces limitations and missed opportunities. Yet, because the mind is aware, adaptable, and trainable, every person can choose the direction of their thoughts and the life they build. The power of the mind is cumulative. Each thought, each choice, each effort strengthens pathways that guide future decisions. Positive thinking does not mean ignoring reality or avoiding challenges. It means cultivating awareness, intention, and resilience so that the mind remains a constructive force, even amidst adversity. Purpose acts as the final guiding force. When individuals know why they are striving, the mind channels energy efficiently, focuses on what matters, and maintains courage even when progress feels slow. Purpose aligns belief, habit, focus, and gratitude into a coherent strategy for growth and fulfillment. Ultimately, mastery of the mind is mastery of life. By nurturing positive beliefs, building empowering habits, focusing energy, persisting through challenges, cultivating confidence, surrounding oneself with supportive environments, and practicing gratitude, each individual becomes the architect of their destiny. The mind shapes character, guides decisions, and creates the path toward personal fulfillment and meaningful achievement. The journey of the mind is ongoing. It requires patience, reflection, and conscious effort. Yet every small action, every choice to think positively, every moment of awareness contributes to a life designed and lived intentionally. The mind is not only a tool, but also a source of creativity, strength, and freedom. By choosing thoughts carefully and cultivating mental habits that align with purpose and possibility, people unlock their highest potential and transform dreams into reality. The message is clear. The mind is everything. The life you desire begins within the mind. The thoughts you nurture, the beliefs you strengthen, the habits you cultivate, the focus you maintain, the persistence you practice, the confidence you build, the environment you embrace, and the gratitude you express, all these create the life you become. The power has always been within you, waiting to be directed, shaped, and realized. The mind is your greatest ally and your most potent tool. When you understand and honor its power, when you guide it with intention and positivity, you step into the true potential of human life. The life you dream of is not distant. It begins here, within the mind, and unfolds as you think, act, and grow. You become what you think, and by consciously shaping your mind, you become capable of greatness, fulfillment, and a life rich with meaning. The end.
Kindly subscribe to my channel.